hit, it's Queenish. Friday nights be gleaning. We stay hype with guys like no matter what, 'cause we queenin'. Hey, we queenin'. We queenin'. When them other chicks be scheming, we stay hype 'cause we queenin'.
With them queens in the building, throw them hands up. Got a crown on my head, no, we can't be touched.
Hello, what's up, Night Hypers? It's about that time for Night Hype. The podcast. I always miss that, always miss that. Well, that is hashtag swag.
Yeah, hype homegirl, hashtag swag.
And I'm DJ Missy E.
And we got a special guest.
We do.
I'm excited. Everybody, round of applause.
Y'all don't have to.
Welcome to the podcast, Councilman Quinton Lucas himself.
It's good to be here. It's good to be here. I was just saying, I don't make it to the barbershop nearly enough, so I need to come through, get an appointment scheduled, make sure I'm looking fresh while I'm going through all this.
Yes,
Right.
while you're going through. So now when you're going through, tell our listeners exactly what it is that you're going through.
Yeah, so right now, I mean, in addition to serving on the city council, listening to some good music.
Yes.
Now, I am running for mayor of Kansas City.
Wow.
So running for mayor. That's exciting. Right.
Now, what pushed you in this direction? Because, me being the stalker and the lurker that I am, I've been kind of following your political career. I know you're probably like, this girl just popped out of nowhere, But interesting enough, I actually was voted most likely to become a politician in junior high school.
Okay.
That's how you know.
So,
I think you know.
So why you not running for mayor or city council or something like that? Yeah, you got about 200 people. And you probably related to a mayoral candidate. I mean, like everybody's just, you'd be surprised. There are enough of them.
That's
so
true.
now what got me to run? I mean, I think one of the most important things we can do is vote. And the other thing that's important is public service. So I grew up with a story like a lot of kids in Kansas City. Grew up single mother, 2 older sisters. She struggled. She worked hard every day. She didn't vote when we were growing up, but I just kind of saw how so many decisions get made where people like us are left out.
Man.
And so my thought was, I'm going to make sure with whatever influence I have, whatever power I can have, I'm making sure that those people who don't always vote or who may not always have their voices heard at City Hall actually have somebody who's listening to them.
Awesome.
So that's what got me into it.
Right, and that's how I met you. Actually, like I said, being the stalker I am, I have a very strong passion for affordable housing because, like you said, being a single mom right now in Kansas City, you will not believe how much of a heartache to just find a house that you can pay rent for, a house, an apartment, anything. So he actually allowed me, didn't know me from nothing to nowhere, but actually saw my interest in affordable housing and allowed me to come and sit down and have a talk with you. And I think that was what really showed me, like, you are about the people.
Well, to me, the biggest thing is it's not about power. Some people get to City Hall or something, they act like they are somebody. They start wearing fancier suits and all of that. My thing's always been, look, I'm the exact same person I was when I was a kid and all that sort of stuff. I was lucky. I'm lucky to be where I am. I became a lawyer. I was able to do a bunch of things. But what that doesn't mean is that I'm ever going to forget where I'm from.
Yeah.
And the people who were standing by me when I was just that, snot-nosed kid like all the others and all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to make sure that, whenever I talk to somebody, that's what I like the most. I don't like kind of the trappings of politics. You have to be at City Hall. You have to deal with the drama. I like being with the people. So that's why our conversation was good.
You've been everywhere.
Yes, I've been following you for some time. This is a few hours, but I've been checking all your stuff, and it looks like you be out everywhere.
Well, here's the thing. Everybody acts like you are nowhere to be found if you haven't been on their block that week. They're like, well, I ain't seen you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I was a block away a week ago. They're like, that was last week. You pick up my trail. But nevertheless, I mean, it's a thing where I'm trying to make sure I can have as much impact as possible, get through to people, and let them know that they're important. To me, the biggest thing is everybody here has a strong voice, and we spend so much time talking about developers' interests or big companies and all of that.
Or your personal interests.
Right. And instead, it should be, how are we building a better community, better neighborhoods for our future, for the next generation and all that.
That's awesome.
I'm excited. I'm really excited. I've been telling people at my job to vote for him. They're like, oh, if you say vote for him, it's gonna work. But how do you plan to involve residents going forward in a lot of the issues that we have, such as crime, justice, you know,
right.
issues, legal system, especially the legal system, because, you
right.
know, I remember when I seen it on news, like, Councilman gets picked up
Yeah, I know.
for
I run
a
into it too.
non-driving DUI.
Right.
But it just shows you that anybody can get caught up.
You know, that is probably, and it's been interesting for me to see too. So, I mean, as I told you, I never really, you know, left the communities. I got some sisters I help out. You know, one of my sisters has several children, so I've tried to have an impact in their lives. But to your point, when, you know, you need to be humbled sometimes and reminded that, wait a second, I'm still a brother walking around too, right? Or sitting around.
Yeah,
and
sitting around.
Right. And just kind of like, and I still remember from that situation, I was like, for real, this is, and then, but you see kind of what so many Black men and women deal with every day, and you see that somebody's already made a decision about you and that sort of thing, and that's, you know, that's the way it is. But my biggest gem has been, what can I do to make positive opportunities out of these situations? Because, you know, a whole bunch of people don't have the opportunities that I have to try to fight for things, to try to make sure that we're making something clear, to make sure that when I'm in a position to change things, that we're really making something different. I'll give you one example. Right, city's got a $1.7 billion budget. A few years ago,
seen that drop.
Right,
the submission.
Right. A few years ago, we get this kind of message from the city manager and the mayor that say they want to cut municipal court funding by $300,000. And I'm like, why? And they say, well, we're running out of money. I'm like, you're telling me $300,000? And y'all need to take it from the one court that impacts so many communities of color, so many courts where people are just starting their relationship, you know, with the system and all of that. And it's crazy, right? Because for any of us who've had to ever sit through municipal court, or any of us who've had to deal with something, people taking off a day of work, they don't know what's going on, they're not getting representation.
You don't know if you're going to walk in the court and get to go back home.
That's right. Yes. That's exactly right.
That part.
And so,
that's why most people don't go.
That's right.
Seriously.
And then they run into warrants and they run all this other trouble. And I'm like, how y'all gonna cut from the one thing that touches poor people the most?
Yeah.
And you know, I have a colleague who says this, and I believe it sometimes. In Kansas City, we spend so much time thinking about how we can save money and all that, but we never think about how we can make it better for the poorest people in this community. I'll give one example, let you ask another question. You know, somebody was asking me, I'm trying to get a $75 million fund for affordable housing to help rehab, right, to help people stay in our neighborhoods and all of that, instead of building a bunch of new stuff. And somebody's like, well, where are you going to get the money from? And I'm like, I got a few easy solutions.
Yeah.
We put $40 million into a downtown convention center hotel, $10 million into a parking lot downtown, $28 million into an office building. That's about $78 million right there. And we can start doing that if we think about the people first.
Yeah.
And that's what I think we need more of in Kansas City all the time. And I guess maybe my thing that's helped me through this race is I listen. You know, there are a lot of people that come in thinking they have all the answers. I try to come through, listen. I have my own experiences, which are interesting, but Lord knows other people have them, because there are things you've been through that I haven't and I can't experience, but I can learn from you about what we can do better.
Well, actually, once I got to seeing your backstory, you know, you released the video, the campaign released the video, shared that, and you can catch that on our Facebook page, Night Hype show. But I saw that we actually, well, not we, but we as people, you have a lot more in common with us than a lot of the other candidates and a lot of actual people who are making those decisions today. And I think that is very important, because you talk about being humble, but just being able to relate, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it is something. And I take no shame in background. I know my mama gets on me all the time. I do not talk about my. She like, that's some 1987 drama. I don't want to hear about it.
I kind of feel like that's how it's me, because it's not easy.
No, it's not. But the thing for me is, and I share it just so people know, first of all, there are other people who understand your experience, and more than anything, for your children, for whomever.
Okay.
Right? You're not defined by where you are today. None of us are.
Yeah.
You can be 85 years old watching this, and you're not defined by what's happening around you today.
Yeah.
There are always opportunities to do things. There are always reasons to care and to push and to keep, I think, trying to make your community better each day.
Right, Ted. We live that. We try, you know, with our little podcast.
We try to keep it positive.
Now, what you want to know? You're
I got a bunch of questions.
But you're from Grandview, so you're both.
I know. I saw she from Grandview. That's okay. We care about Grandview, too.
Oh, well, that's good.
Although
But the way you said it, though, we care about Grandview,
although
too.
I want everybody, I mean, I'm just going to say, you know, after about half of my mayoral term, I hope all y'all from Grandview moving back in. You know, we're going to be rebuilding neighborhoods.
Okay.
We're doing more of that work. I know we're going to be competitive. Y'all got some nice stuff out there now, but
We're working on it.
We keep trying to make
They got that song that say Grandview, and they redid Main Street.
That was one of my questions. See, I got a little more than that going. Okay. What neighborhood do you live in? Why? And where are your favorite places to spend time in your town?
Ooh, that's a good question. So I live at 19th and Paseo. So I'm right down there. Growing up, actually, my mom still stays in Parade Park.
Okay.
If you know the neighborhood, so right off Truman and Woodland, by Lincoln, if you ever get okay.
I know
Kansas
what
City.
Oh, I saw you shaking your head. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, she'll tell me later.
I know. I'm like, we need to get her out and about. I'm like, you ain't been there anyway. So right by 18th and Vine.
Yeah,
in case you're
I
wondering.
do know where that is.
Okay. You know, so I live there. So actually, I like to, if I can, get a good bite to eat over there. You got your music. You know, we're trying to step up that neighborhood too.
Yes,
You know, I know it's not easy. We got our challenges, but I mean, I'm really
Yes.
trying to do something like that. Another thing that I'm into though is, you know, I'm a fella, so I like sports. So,
Yep, you do.
know, I know, right? And so I'm trying to run all the time. And then I'm a big Chiefs fan. So,
All right.
so I go to everywhere. Where are y'all from? Y'all from Boston or something? Where are you
No,
from?
I'm
New England?
from Arkansas.
Okay, there we go.
We don't have a football
No,
team.
y'all don't. I'm
Just the Razorbacks.
I'm like, y'all
So
got the
I've kind of
Razorbacks.
been like grandfathered into the KC sports culture. Like once the Royals won, you know, I was like, woo, I was out there doing the parade thing. And then when I thought the Chiefs were going to the Super Bowl, I watched that game.
She said that was a
Well,
little dagger there.
I mean, I did.
I thought we
was
were too.
rooting
Kind of broke my heart.
for you.
Kind of broke my heart. I ain't gonna
Everyone
lie.
was sad.
I was, you know, that's the craziest thing about sports, though, right? Because I'm like, because every now and then I have to like divorce myself from and be like, wait, I ain't making money off of them, but still, I'm really like, Mahomes, what happened, man?
But you be so seriously. You used to be so invested, you know, in your team, though.
No, that's cool. That's cool. Where are you from?
I'm from around the corner.
Oh, okay. I was about to say.
73rd Street.
There we go. Okay, sorry. Just wondering. I'm breaking down the wall.
Shout out to Drea. She's behind
There
the
we
camera,
go.
y'all.
Hi, guys.
She's handling the camera stuff for us. So.
Yeah, I'm not a Chiefs fan, so I was just.
Yeah, that's what.
She
Okay,
didn't say anything.
So who you trying to root? Who do you root for?
Nobody.
Okay, I'm cool with that.
And she got so much excitement out of watching them lose.
Mm.
She was
how
really happy
rude.
about it.
I met people like that before.
Oh,
Like-
how you on not on your home team, but in T-Food. That's the Councilman Lucas.
Yes, ma'am.
If you could change one thing in our zoning code, that's a good one. What would it be?
Oh, y'all making me get deep on this one.
Let's go.
See, we don't have them average questions.
Really,
I'm
you
trying
know,
to let
You know, it is real interesting. So I went to the Civil Rights Museum in Birmingham, Alabama last year. And it was interesting because they had all of the zoning maps from when segregation was legal and lawful and all of that. And you know, the craziest thing is the racial demographics have not changed that much.
one bit.
One bit.
No.
And we got the same thing in Kansas City.
Yeah, from
right?
20s to the 70s.
That's exactly
you will
right.
see it and then go on
That's
out
right.
and go out
And then
this
you look
way.
at where everything else is. We still have the same post-World War II, I think, frankly, racially tinged view of how zoning works in our communities that we did 50 years ago. That's the number one thing that needs to change immediately. It's something I've tried to push. Sometimes I get kind of nerdy about it. People are like, I don't even know what he's talking about. But nevertheless, I think it's key.
Yeah.
You know what we need to start doing? You're not from, but you're from here. So you recognize we need to start challenging more of that old line stuff.
Yes.
We can't be happy with, and growing up here, like, they would sprinkle things every now and then. But, hey, y'all, you're getting a new center. I'm like, nobody was asking for that. I want change. I want substantive change that's changing the way we live, right? That's changing how we're actually seeing ourselves in this community.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is a key zoning change we can make, too. It doesn't need, I want to make sure our community has choice of where they want to be. I want to make sure instead of pushing everybody in that same line, basically down 71.
Or do I need to go to 12th Street because I can't afford nothing?
Exactly, and doesn't gentrify us. So let me talk about that real quick. So I love every neighborhood in Kansas City, don't get me wrong, but If you go to the Beacon Hill neighborhood, that's true, between about 27th and north of that to 71. It was this neighborhood had lots of people of color before. They found out they decided it got too bad. Government goes in, clears out all the houses. Now you have a bunch of $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 houses.
Yes, I saw those.
And not that many people that look like us there at all.
Mm-mm.
But what we need to make sure we are not doing is saying that we're going to displace our own people and our own neighborhoods and then price ourselves out of our community. I don't want to I don't want to look at Kansas City 20 years from now and be like, we don't live on 18th and Vine anymore because we've, cleared it all
and
out.
There is some gorgeous dang houses down there. I was riding my friend. She took a class downtown, and we so nerdy. We didn't. What was it? Homes. One road turns it. Some road turns into Oak right there on 22nd.
Yeah.
So on the way back, I was riding by Paseo, and I looked to my right, and it was like all these gorgeous, like natural looking brown, blending it, new houses, and I'm like. The last time I came down there, they was all raggedy.
That's right.
They had the paint chipping out. And I was just wondering, like, where was this a few years ago? When I first came to Kansas City, even downtown itself was like nothing. It wasn't even Sprint Center 10 years ago,
That's true.
So you do see a lot, and I don't think we recognize how things such as zoning and, gentrification, how much it really does apply to us as a demographic.
Right, and how we have to be part of all of those planning decisions. You need to be about the boring meetings too.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm campaigning, I got people who always say, what's your thing? And I'm like, yeah, maybe you want to talk to the person who says I'm gonna do the big thing, but instead I'm like, you need people that are gonna do the work every day. Do the work in the boring meetings, do the work to make sure money's getting spent right, make sure we're actually thinking about the community and all of our steps, not just somebody who's selling you a bag of goods that aren't for real.
Right, right. Because I remember we came to your, it was on a Monday, and it was so funny because I brought my kids with me, and I was so embarrassed because Councilman Reed was saying something about Martin Luther King Jr. and JoJo. Who is that?
You're like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna just check out.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I did know there was a lot of people there, and you guys were able to just stand there and just take every. If words could kill, y'all would have been a bunch of because it ain't nothing like getting cussed out nasty nice by an old Christian woman.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God! So they was coming at y'all. As a politician, what's the hardest thing about that? And then also, how do you not intake that personally? Because you didn't develop Kansas City.
I sure did.
You're just you're trying to make it better.
That's right.
But everybody kind of views their hate, towards you personally.
That's a good question. And I'd be lying if I said it wasn't challenging, right? They tell you not to read the blogs about you, not to read the Facebook comments. But you do, right? So don't write bad Facebook comments now. Somebody
I'll be seeing y'all in the comments. I think one time, oh my God, we was going back and forth. I said, well, Quinton don't got to say nothing because you got a whole bunch of other folks that will hop out.
Well, that's true. Right. People come out. And you know what? And that's the best thing. For every negative person, you probably got 3 or 4 positive people. For every person who's trying to tear you down and tell you not somebody, there are a whole bunch of other people saying, brother, stand strong.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing that probably makes it easiest for me. But probably the hardest part of it all is that you do end up giving a lot of your family time, right? All that stuff that actually matters to you, to some of these other folks. And that's something that you're going to give back. And so that's been one of my things so far.
What a segue. So you talk about family.
Here we go. Let's go.
You having kids?
I don't have any kids.
You don't have any kids?
I got 8 nieces and nephews.
All right.
And help support them. So, that's like having a family.
Kids.
Right.
You do.
Got the nephew who needs to stay at my house, all that.
Yeah, so I get it.
Right.
But what is it like today being like as an active politician as you are? Because you active like every other day you are doing something that's public. Right. It's never personal.
So, you just try to, step one, and I'm not always, you just try to stay out of trouble. You travel.
Past that part, but I tried.
But, more to the point, you're respectful to everybody.
Right.
You kind of do you do your thing, and then you have to make sure that that you're always looking out for what is job one. And I tell anybody I meet and all of that, this is a calling for me, right? I've been working hard to represent my community and all that sort of stuff. And I'm not about to jeopardize it by being in some fight out there, you know, even if you're real mad at me. And that's why, like, half the time, if I'd let y'all know more, I'm a walk away person from fight, which I'm messing ladies that don't like that, but I'm just like, no, you know what? I'm like, exactly. I'm like, no, they're not gonna because they're not gonna see me on TV screaming back and forth or anything like that.
You don't want no Bow Wow situation.
Scratches on your face.
I'm like, nope, we gonna have this fight later, and we'll just talk about it tomorrow.
Right.
So that's it.
That's actually pretty smart.
Right.
Yes,
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. So one thing about us, Night Hype Show, you can't come by without dropping your top 5. And I'm gonna give you two. Your top 3. Most admired political figures who you look up to. But then, you know what I'm saying, I need your top 5 MCs.
Okay.
Let's go.
Living, dead,
Any
whatever.
genre.
Okay. So I need to do my political figures first.
Yeah.
Top 2 or top 3?
3.
That's interesting. So I guess the first one, I know they didn't give me the questions before.
We don't give nobody.
I would have come all prepared.
Off the dome. Freestyle this.
Top 2 or 3 political figures. So I studied in South Africa.
Look at you.
And so, Nelson Mandela is
Yay.
just interesting story.
Nelson.
Just like,
Oh my God.
talk about somebody who incarcerated for 27 years, right? Been through some struggle, had these opportunities where they said, just admit that you did something wrong. And he was like, nah, I'm not, right? I'm going to stay there, and it's an issue for which I'm prepared to die, he said. And so that's number 1. He's number 1 by far. Number 2 is going to be somewhat surprising, and it is... Actually, maybe it's not surprising, but you know who I love is Maxine Waters in California.
Ow!
Who is just, because, first of all, she's from Missouri, if you didn't know. She's from St. Louis.
I did not.
Right. She's from Missouri. Got out there. And then my favorite thing is, look, you don't agree with anybody 100% of the time, but I'm like, she stands up for herself. She fights. She doesn't let them just typecast her or say that, you just a Black Caucus member or something.
Exactly.
Instead, she's out there having beefs with the president. She's out there, being strong and all of that. And being somebody who's like, she ain't going to back down no matter what they throw at her.
Okay.
And I've tried to emulate, I've tried to emulate that too.
Right.
Which is like, look, I'm not stopping her backing down. And then number 3, I heard a podcast with me today because I'm listening to podcasts now.
Come on up there.
Man by the name of David Dinkins, the first Black mayor of the city of New York. He ran against Rudy Giuliani. Beat him the first time, then Giuliani won the second time. But nevertheless, gives no credit. As happens often with politicians of color.
It does.
Right? Gets no credit for actually cleaning up things. When he became mayor, there were 2,000 murders in the city of New York. It started dropping under his term and just continued under Giuliani. He managed to address neighborhoods, all these other things. A great man who served one term. Nobody talks about him that much and all of that. But that's why I would say that, he's kind of my man. If your dude from Arkansas, Bill Clinton, he conflicted. He's an interesting fella.
When he got into governor, all I could think was, look at this dude, he can play the saxophone. But we talk about, them just coming towards the votes or whatever.
Yeah.
But they always give him, the first.
Right. I know he was an interesting character.
I feel like Hillary was definitely the president in both times.
I could, because she was keeping that group disciplined.
Yes,
when Bill's eye was kind of wandering.
Yes,
She
was on him. I know she was on him in the background. Right
now. Okay. Right, that part. I like them. I don't know why. So not, like the typical MLK or Malcolm X.
Look, I got a poster of Malcolm X in my room because I've had it since I was a kid. But and look, and he's very cool too. I think those 3 figures are people that I think of a lot when I'm trying to say, how am I going to address something today?
Present day people too.
I know, and that it's President's Day.
That's right.
Oh my gosh, today. So would you run for president?
Who?
I can do the mayor thing.
Yeah, first, I got exactly. Somebody the other day was like, "Oh, you just trying to run for governor of Missouri?" I'm like, "Would I get elected governor of Missouri?"
You don't think so?
Missouri?
Well,
I'm like,
it was
you ain't lived there long enough.
Anything can happen.
Well, right, that's true. Obama taught us that anything can happen.
Yes.
So maybe you run for governor of Arkansas first. She's like, I got to go back to Arkansas.
And I don't want to go, and I don't have any plans, so that's not gonna happen.
No, but that's the real question for me. I'm having issues with this. It's a nonpartisan election I'm running for, but I'm not really down with the president of the United States right now, nor do I think most are. But I need to figure out who I like on the Democratic side. And there are some good candidates.
A lot of them coming out.
You know, I've seen some good people. I saw Cory Booker actually speak here in Kansas City a little while back. I followed Kamala Harris's career. I hear Joe Biden may be running. You know, there's some people I like and I'm interested in, so that'll be interesting to follow. Y'all got a favorite in that?
Harris.
Yeah, I hear a lot of good stuff.
And you know
about
what?
her.
At first, I was for her, but then I got to hearing about like her prostitution record.
Yeah.
And you know, being a color and somebody that had the problems.
Well,
Anywho,
well,
so back to the top 5.
And I'm doing what, top 5 MCs?
And your top 5 best artists ever.
Yes.
Oh Lord.
What do you listen to?
Okay, I mean, look. So if I'm doing MCs, I'm gonna do local people. Nobody wants that.
That's all right.
Are you sure?
Hey, let's go.
Are you sure? I'm not supposed to.
No, yes,
No,
please
you-
do.
yes,
They
this-
probably will appreciate
This
some
is your
love.
list. This is your list. Let's go.
Okay.
Not yours.
I mean, I'm gonna give you. So I got a fellow I grew up with, DJ G Train.
All right.
So Garrett is his name. You can see him playing, bouncing around all the time. There's another DJ Q, and that is not me, but his name is Quinton. Yeah.
Yeah, Randall. Is it
that-
Randall?
Yeah, absolutely.
He used
And
to
so
do-
DJ Q is somebody who's one of my favorites to listen to all the time. You know, who else am I? I got a buddy.
That's
I'm
two.
just going with the friend category. So have you heard of Steady P before? Ray Pierce is his name. He grew up out south
Ray
like
Pierce.
you.
Ray Pierce.
Right. So Ray is another one that you don't like.
I don't know these
Oh, you don't know?
people.
She's just like, I don't know.
I
These
know.
people.
Yes, I am.
Let me go bigger. I gotta go like nationally famous, internationally famous.
I feel
now.
bad.
And I know because I don't know anybody from Arkansas, by the way. So I'm trying to think of
I
y'all.
feel like you throwing shade.
No, I know I am.
I feel
No,
like I hear some Arkansas and shade. Okay.
No, but let me think. And then if I'm doing kind of bigger DJs that I've liked listening to over the years, so I went to school in New York, right?
Mm-hmm.
So got used to catching up with some people down there. The music I actually got into when I was out there. I dated a woman from Jamaica for a long time.
All right.
So I
Some
mean,
Caribbean
yeah, I was trying to dance like them too. I could not move like that.
I mean, it is a lot of work, a lot of movement.
But yeah, but she actually did get me into some like different reggae stuff and all of
Yeah.
that, which was cool. I do not remember them DJs' names, but I went down to the island a few times too, which was cool. And now I'm kind of like, why'd I let that go? Shoot,
You did a lot of traveling, I hear.
You did do a lot of traveling.
traveling.
I'm
That's
cold
dope.
and here in Kansas City
right.
and all of that.
Man, look.
I know. I need to be in Montego Bay or
All
something.
right.
Anyway.
All right. Look, I'm trying to get there.
So I don't know any of those people, but it's good to get put on.
And they're local too, so you need to get to know them.
So you
We can
got-
put them on the show. She's like,
Yes,
no,
we
they're
can.
not.
We
Yes,
do
we can.
Okay.
And yes, that's
So
what
that's-
this is all about.
That was
I did-
2, right?
I did
That
3.
was 3.
You did 3. Okay.
I did 3. Can I jump to musicians now?
Yes.
Yeah,
go ahead.
All right.
definitely.
See, I wasn't even thinking about that. Gosh, musicians. I'm gonna go old school for one, because
Okay.
old folks vote. No, I'm like, yeah, young folks don't vote.
Hey, I do.
Hey,
I know, right?
We
Right,
hanging
right.
out with
If I
it.
went to
Well,
Grandview.
y'all coming now? I mean, so I'm gonna test her to see if she know. Cap Calloway? Okay.
Who? She, me?
Anyway, good classic jazz, all that sort of stuff. So
Oh,
I mean, so
God.
he's real good. Google him later.
Okay.
And then I need to go with somebody young. Who am I like listening to right now?
Somebody young.
Yeah, I know. I need to just come with. So I was thinking about this for.
Oh,
don't get me
God.
started on campaign songs, because
Okay.
people will send me proposals.
Oh,
all this.
No, please, no.
What's that Kansas City record?
Oh,
Tech
God.
Nine just made. That could be your
Ooh.
campaign song. Okay.
Hey, I mean, I could, and I like Tech Nine
Tech
too,
is
but
cool. I mean, he reps the town.
he
you know
does
what
rep
I'm
the
saying?
town real well.
You can't hate on that.
And he ain't been in no trouble, really.
No, he
At all.
really
Yeah.
hasn't.
Right,
He's
right.
been doing good.
All right, so we throw him on.
All right,
There we
That's
go.
Hey.
There we go.
That's 5.
That's 5.
Now you're sitting up here like, oh, we're the same age.
Yeah, but you done a lot more than me. I mean, you raising a family.
You've been
doing all
around
of
the
that.
world.
Nah,
You
I
have
just-
you know
Sounds
what
like
I'm
you've
saying?
been
New
around.
York,
I
Africa.
just get, I got to get out of here sometimes. You know that story? Oh, you know what? I got a sister with 6 kids, and she's always like, don't get married, just go travel. So she like, I ain't been on a vacation in 22 years.
I'll give you that. She's right. She's
That
right.
is correct.
Right.
She's
That
right.
is
So
correct.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
When do you get breaks as a mayor? Like, when do you actually get to vacate? Like, is there a certain time you have to do it, or?
You know,
I just want to know.
I'm
It's
with
a
you.
certain time you gotta run the
Because,
city.
I mean,
So you
I'm
gotta
with
do it
you.
all year round.
So there was a lady on the city council before me, Melba Curls,
Mhm.
who and Melba always said, honey, you need to take your Sunday evenings for yourself.
Mhm.
Right? And so she was real good at that. And so that's when I try to get my time free too. So I tend to go to church on Sunday morning.
Good.
But the thing with church when you're running for office, that starts to get kind of political too.
I know.
Right, and
Yeah,
everybody
I know,
starts
right?
walking up to you like,
Yeah.
hey,
Do
man,
this,
I like
do
what you
that.
did.
Okay.
I got, well, lady at church this Sunday. Talk about the church ladies, right? They real nice until they not. And
Yeah.
so she came
They
up
looking at
like,
you funny.
so you claiming you run the city, but you can't plow my street? And I'm like, I'm sorry.
Oh, goodness gracious.
I'm sorry.
Like he the plowman.
No, I'm like, I don't run the whole department.
Like you was driving the project yourself.
I'm like, we trying. She's like, that's okay, baby. I know y'all ain't gonna get to my street. But anyway, you need to take your time Sunday afternoon and evening. If there's not a Chiefs game, I'm trying to just chill, not see anybody, all that sort of stuff.
I had to ask because I see, like, whenever with the presidents are doing anything, and they say, oh, they're,
And
over
what's
here,
it,
they
like
over
Camp
there, and people be
David?
Yeah, they
talking
go to
about
Camp
them because they
David.
took a break. So I didn't know if that kind of intimidates you or whoever that's.
So what I've been trying to get more into is actually finding. So like Frank White, the county executive, if you know him, like he goes fishing. And I didn't grow up with that. And Frank, I think originally from Mississippi, so he kind of got that country thing.
Yeah.
And so he's like, "Need to go fishing with me sometime." And I'm like, "All right, Frank, maybe." But
I'm
that'd
glad
be.
he up here knocking their voices like this. Let me find out you an impersonator.
But but maybe one day I'm gonna go fishing with Frank.
Oh,
So
That'd be
I'm like,
cool.
I
I
need to do
miss
that.
going fishing back in the old
Fishing
days.
Oh, yeah.
So, but it's like a little fishing thing around the corner.
Yeah, you can do it
Longview
down.
for
You can
me.
do it down around here. You go out to Longview Lake. You got
Oh, yeah.
like a few choices.
Obviously.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
You go
If you've ever been
fishing.
to Longview, you've been to Longview Lake.
I
Right?
have.
Do you know what Longview Lake is? He's over here clowning.
Oh, I'm
you.
sorry. I'm not gonna get invited back on. I'm bad right now.
And I said I was voting for him. You hear me?
Retract
All
that
right,
statement.
so this is really interesting.
Sure.
It's so funny because the first time I met you, like, it was kind of weird.
Mhm.
I'm like, oh my God, it's just so sad, and I have this dream. And he was really serious, and I was telling my friends, like, yeah, don't be. It's just gonna be sad. It's so sad.
Go ahead.
I can
Go
say
ahead.
it.
Go ahead. Say it.
Sorry,
We're
I'm
in
I'm getting too
I can
excited.
say.
Getting
Like,
too
oh my God, he kind of has swag. He's not a nerd. like,
Oh!
let me
well-
tell you, you play too much because you'll be on your own page posting pictures talking about yourself.
I do.
I
I
seen
do.
the one with the dog. He was trying to make his dog.
Man, the dog's just moving away from
And
him.
he's like, I noticed that you can't make everybody your friend. So I'm like, he is funny, but you're really
I
cool.
try.
You're really down to earth, and dang, they find out you got jokes too.
Yeah.
I'm trying,
All
man.
day, it sounds like.
Hey, trust me, it makes the days better. If you were living in the stress, y'all know that.
Yes.
Yeah,
You can't. That's why the
You
people who
gotta
don't
be able to
smile,
laugh.
I don't get them. Because
Yeah.
I'm like, life got too much serious to not smile a little
Okay.
bit
Right.
through it. So.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I like it. Well, I want to thank you so much for taking out the time to come hang
Yes,
out.
thank
And
you.
when you win,
Yes, ma'am.
win, Mary,
win.
That's right.
When you win.
we're gonna need to come back again.
And let me tell you something. You talking about how I reach out to people?
Mhm.
I will come back regularly. You call me, I'm gonna come right down
I
here.
ain't playing.
I'm not
you know
gonna.
what I'm saying? I got your
And you can blow me up
secretary
on
number.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of that. I'm not gonna be one of those people who forgets who I talked to before I got in. So
Yes.
we're gonna be there.
Okay, y'all. Y'all heard it first, okay?
Right here. So I'm praying recommend that all of you go out, vote.
Please.
April the
Second,
what?
April 2nd.
April 2nd.
April 2nd.
Before you go, can you let everybody know where to find you? All your social.
Oh,
Yeah. I'm off say that. So I am at Quinton Lucas KC. QUINTON LUCAS KC. That's too long, but nevertheless, that's what I am on Instagram. On Facebook, just look up Quinton Lucas. If you even just were to Google like Q Mayor KC, I only do it with a Q.
Yeah.
In politics, it feels like, and so just look that way.
Okay.
There are a whole bunch of stories on me about me online. Read about 70% of them.
Okay.
And then I worry about the others, whatever.
man.
But no, and then you can find me that way. And honestly, I'm gonna give you my number: 816-679-1662. Text me, email, call. Right.
So you telling me I ain't got to call 311 no more?
Right. 679-1662. It's even better than 311.
Hey.
But don't call me before like 7 a.m. on Sunday. I'm gonna get at you. If you
Okay.
do that.
I don't play that game now.
Right? And y'all need to really look him out. You can even speak Spanish.
See?
He did
That's
the
what I
whole,
meant.
what's that thing? What's it called? The political video?
Yeah. I did a
That's
political
what
ad. All en español.
Hey.
Pero es importante para todos.
Oh.
¿Cómo está? Buenas noches.
De nada.
There you go.
So he dope. Who wouldn't want a bilingual mayor? You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
I mean, obviously. So go out April the 2nd.
Yeah,
Q for mayor.
Vote.
that's right.
Quinton
Vote
for mayor.
Quinton Lucas.
Very excited.
Don't boo. Vote.
That part.
That's right. Don't boo. Vote. Don't boo, vote. I like that. If you're mad about, I will say this. People try to say, oh, they ain't doing anything. We mad at Trump. We mad at this, all of that. It
Yeah.
starts at the local level.
Right.
Yes,
That's
it
Make
right.
sure you get out,
That's
vote
right.
April 2nd. That's when you
Right
make your
there.
difference.
Right there.
I love
I'm
that.
excited.
Yes. Thank you.
I'm
again
ready.
for
I
coming.
can't
Thank you.
wait to see this because I'm going to feel like I had a party.
You did.
You know, like when Barack got elected, we all felt like
That's
we
right.
had a party.
That's right.
Man, we partied, didn't
Oh,
we?
Yes, we did.
Like in
Man,
1999.
that was long ago.
Yes, it was.
now,
Yes,
too.
it was. That's
It
all right.
really
So we need more of that.
We need
That's
more.
we need to push the next one.
Yes,
You
we
know,
do.
all of that, and we're gonna do that at the local level. We'll do it presidential.
Yes.
Harris,
Yes,
or-
let's go.
or
Let's
whoever
go.
you end up going with,
Hey,
and
Let's go. Let's do it. I'm ready.
we'll figure it out.
All right,
All
so you can catch us on any of the socials.
That's right.
Instagram, Facebook.
Yep. Snapchat.
Oh,
I don't know.
I
if we
love
have a
Snap.
yeah, I don't do
I love
Snapchat enough
Snap.
either. I'm just
Oh,
like,
guys.
We
I-
don't.
Snap is awesome.
Okay, can I borrow one of our
oh,
cards?
yeah.
You gonna
I mean,
show
I-
the picture? You gonna zoom it up on over there?
No, okay, so Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat, Night Hype Show, NITEHYPE Show.
Okay.
Share, let us know what you
Come
got
on.
going on, and I want you to vote for Q for Mayor April the 2nd.
All
There
right.
we out.
Thank y'all.
I bid you
I'll-
a deuce.
I'll be back
All right.
later.
Bye.
And my
Adios.
voice. I'll be back.